Week 8. Okay, I know I keep saying this, but I'm going to say it again. Let that soak in. Like week 8 really means from this point in time of which I'm recording, which is the end of week 7. Hey, like those rainbows on my face? Um, there's really 2 weeks left of this class. Okay, so I just find it important to remind you because I know that as we get closer to the end, my time and your time becomes more challenging, right? So I'm going to do what I did last week, right? So here we are. I'm recording this on the 27th, coming into week 8. I'll talk about the content this week and then just roll it forward just to see that first week of which is next week. Next week is October. And then boom, we're done. Okay. So keeping the eye on the prize is important, which right now is Project Zero. And I've been talking about it. You've been working on it. Many of you are making good progress on this, which is great. Um, the one thing I did look, and most of you completed the menu build out, which is great. One thing I think I'll just kind of give to everyone, although most people got this, is that I really want to see those pages kind of evenly spread over whatever that menu is. Like I don't want to see all your pages in one. I really want to see them spread across. And I believe I've said that, but I want to say it again in case you didn't catch that piece. Okay. So, thinking about too, just want to give you, and this is me doing a little marketing to you about my classes, is next semester, because I don't know if anyone here would be interested in the classes coming up after this, because I'm hoping many of you are taking Todd McLeod CIT 85. But for next semester, I have JavaScript client side in the 18-week mode. I believe this is confirmed. Um, It'll be a hybrid class, which means you only have to show up once a week, but it'll be 18 weeks. Right now, I'm teaching it in the 9-week mode, and it's definitely a bit more of a challenge because it's so quick. But anyway, that class. At the same time, I'm teaching Node.js, which is a server side of JS. I wouldn't recommend unless you have some coding experience to come in that you would take both of those. But one thing you might think about is I'm teaching CIT84, which this last week you had about some front end frameworks. And the most popular front end frameworks, React, Vue, and Angular, are actually what I'm going to cover in that 18 weeks. So I don't think I talked about that here, but if I do, apologize for the repeats. Okay. So I'm looking over here to see what we have for content, right? This is the e-commerce platform is actually going to be different than what you'll see in that video instruction because it's one of the very last items I had to convert from the lynda.com. But let me just say again, lynda.com is a great resource, and I recommend you getting a library card to have access to that because there's some very good training on there. The company actually bought, or LinkedIn bought them, or however it went. But so now they're branding a lot of that through LinkedIn as well. But you still get access, as far as I know, the last time I looked, to all their current content, even the stuff being PR'd through LinkedIn. So check that out. Fresno County Library card, Clovis Library card also gives you, I believe, the last time I checked, lynda.com, which is normally $25 a month. So check that out. Okay, so this week also we have images, right? So such an important thing, and there's a video there to give you some of that overview. And many of you did, oh, actually, this is week 8. So we already did some image stuff. This is actually doing some compression because one of the things we have to think about is making images. There's a balance between the quality of the images and the size of the images. So we want the highest quality we can get with the lowest size we can achieve. So that's a balancing act. And at least this site gives you an option to compress your images. But I think I noticed a couple of you, I think one was using Pixlr, which I've used as well, which is an online site. Some are using Photoshop, which is, of course, the industry standard. And then there's other things out there. So I just give you this site to kind of help with understanding there are different ways to compress your images. Okay. But you need to continue. So here's like my mantra. Mantra is a thing you say over and over again. You need to be building these sites out, right? So the more work you're doing, the sooner you're doing that work. If you run into something, and even if you don't, the sooner you're going to get done. And think about this, right? So this is a 25% of your grade here, right? Is that right? I don't know why I questioned that for a second. Anyway, so that percentage, here's the deal. If you submit your project zero, which is that final project, before the due date, you're going to give me a chance to look at it, review it, and then give you any suggestions on what you could fix or what you've missed. So working ahead, now, to do that, I would at least need 24 hours before the due date to do that based on my cycle of what's going on for me. As I've told you, that is a very full week for me. So keep that in mind. Okay. So we have the payment gateways. This is just an important concept to understand how payment, how the companies who handle payment, how the payment process works. So this is content that, is part of this core of this class. So we make sure you walk away with it. And then really, this is something that, because everything's in the cloud. I know that sounds quaint or just kind of like what people say, but what does that really mean? And what I like about this is it really gives you an overview of the major cloud providers. Way important. Okay. So, and then we continue to work on your site. Again, you saw me talk about this every week. You're going to be working on that site. You should anyway, but I'm actually building content to help you do that. So building out your site and then adding a favicon. So this, I've shown you in the instruction how to do it. If you run into any issues, also YouTube is your friend. I just went over and did a quick, adding favicon, and there's some great content there as well. But reach out to me if you have any problems with that. But what you really want to see is when you look at that site, right? Is that you want to see that, just to remind you what that looks like, because you want to make sure that it actually renders correctly, right? So for me, my favicon here, right, is what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's what I mean. Okay, so and then build system. So we in this class, and some of you may have seen this, and I think you did. I remember seeing it in your analysis of your templates. Some of you had some of this build systems integrated already, but we didn't require you to use it. But I want you to understand that when you actually build things for more of a production environment, there are ways and build systems that help us do that, optimize our code out for the web. And so I just want you to know about some of these, because having a knowledge, at least they exist if somebody's talking about them, is a good idea. And then I'm actually just briefly going to talk about week 9, because I don't provide video instruction here, because it's really, three things, getting your now. Oh, so content strategies, machine learning topic. I'm going to actually let you choose a lecture you want for, but it has to be related to web development, of course, or something we've talked about, or something you want to learn. And of course, Project Zero. Here's what I was going to say is that next week, I actually this video, I question myself whether I do it, but I actually really think it's good, because it's a young woman talking about how she got her first development job and some things she had to do and some things she learned along the way. And I think this is just good for us to consume. I'm okay with you actually only going up to like 15. I think that's where I was, about 15 minutes, but there are some good questions. But most of her content is really, and this gives you a little smaller lecture, which is not necessarily bad. But I want you to get at least hear somebody talk about this process. If this is something you want to do, at least understand, right? Because there are many different examples of people going out, and their experiences, of course, are going to be different depending on what experience they have, where they're applying, the companies that they're applying to. But I think this is a good representation of hearing somebody who had done some things like boot camps and other things, and then was going into looking for a job. Okay, So I think that's it for me. So again, please be reaching out if you need some additional help with your sites. Now's a good time. This is why, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but building that content out, the sooner you do it, the sooner you start getting that site built. If you run into any issues, and even if you don't, just the better you're going to feel coming into week 9. And we're only 2 weeks away. Okay, so in your reply, here's what I'd like to hear today. What do you need? Like, think about it. Like, based on, because you know your template at some, you know what you're accomplishing, you know what your menu is going to look like. What do you need to then do this? What is it that you feel like you need? Okay. And then of course reach out to me. I've had video conferences with several of you in this class. I'm always willing. It's just a matter of scheduling. So if you reach out to me and say, hey, can we video in an hour? If I can, I will. But if I'm scheduled, that's why giving me a little more of a heads up is always helpful. Okay. All right, peace out, enjoy your weekend, talk to you later.